Welcome back to another episode of In the Middle with Chauncey. I'm Chauncey and I will be your host today. So, I'm doing something a little out of my comfort zone and we'll just see how it goes. I find myself recording late at night and then I feel like I have to talk softly because my baby's in the next room, and then I re-listen to my podcast and I can barely hear my voice. So I'm going to try and speak up without waking up my baby. So the thing that I'm doing different is I am actually recording my podcast on my podcast app and on my phone to upload onto my YouTube channel. So if you don't know, I have a YouTube channel and I will leave my link in the show notes. I would love for the support, and if you want to watch me, this might not be the very best one to watch because it's going to be the one that I'm learning how to do things. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. It's 11 o'clock at night, so I'm literally in my sweats, but I've been really wanting to do this for so long because I feel like I can't stop touching my hair. I'm getting my hair done tomorrow, you guys, and can I just tell you how excited I am? I am a blonde, but naturally I have super dark hair. And I'm the type of girl that usually goes every 7 weeks because my hair grows super fast. But I've only gone to get my hair done one time since last November. So my roots are grown, my hair looks super dark, and it just feels like Christmas tonight. Sorry, that was a random rant. But anyway, back to the recording. There's nothing fancy about this, but I have just wanted to get my podcast on YouTube as well. And I'm sure that there's better ways to do it, but tonight I just decided to download the app on another phone. I'm recording on another phone tonight. And then I'm going to record my actual video on my phone. So when I launch this podcast on Apple and Spotify, I'm also going to be putting it on my YouTube channel. So head over there, subscribe, and give this a big thumbs up. And if you guys have not subscribed to my podcast yet, I would absolutely be ecstatic if you would. It helps a lot if you subscribe, rate it, and give a written review. I have yet to have that, so I would absolutely love it if you are liking this podcast and you want to keep seeing things. That would just be so awesome. So I don't even remember why, but tonight I was just sitting on my couch and I just had this inspiration to talk about body image and kind of the struggles that I have experienced. And here is something that I have a hard time doing, and also I feel like a lot of other people have a hard time doing, is if we're in the middle of something, it's we don't want to talk about it yet because we haven't we don't have that happy ending, right? We don't have the positive spin. But I also find so much beauty in that. I love that we can try and talk about things while you're gonna guess it, right? In the middle. That's literally what my podcast is about. My mind has just exploded in that moment because I named my podcast In the Middle with Chauncey for this exact reason. I don't know how I'm gonna end this, so I'm just kind of throwing that out there right now. So, when I was a young girl, I have always just been a small, petite person. I'm 5 foot. I stopped growing at 12. And it's interesting because I think that when people see a small person, they instantly think that they have no body image issues or anything like that. And that also there's no space for a small person to have body image issues because there's people that are just I don't know what the right word is, but they're just, other people are allowed to have these issues because maybe their body isn't so petite like mine. But I'm not sitting here saying poor me. I'm honestly just trying to create this space and allow myself to accept where I'm at and where I have been in my life, and honestly just kind of talk about this conversation that I haven't technically like shared publicly online. So I grew up with a big family. There's 8 of us, and I'm the 5th. So by the time I'm getting to the age of like remembering things, my mom has already had all 8 kids. So if you could imagine like going through like pregnancy 8 times, your body is gonna take a toll on just everything. So I remember hearing my mom even like talk to me about it, but like being on a diet and losing weight and eating healthy and not eating this and not eating that. And I remember there was a time where she was really doing this dieting, and she started dropping weight and getting to these sizes that she was so excited for. So it was like, guess what? I'm this size and I weigh this much and I lost this much weight. And I remember her buying new clothes, and every single stage it was just this amazing accomplishment, and I was so happy for her. I remember like going jean shopping with her and going bra shopping with her because things in her body was changing. And what I took from that was I never want to have to do all of this work, okay? Which, I mean, that's honestly just me being honest about what I thought when I was younger. And the thing that was tricky now that I'm looking back, and I don't fault my mom for this, she never told me that I needed to do a certain thing. Like she's a very loving person and would never want to like push like diet culture on her kids. But it just instilled in me like I don't want to have to diet and I don't want to have to do all these things. So if I see that I'm getting a certain size, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but that's just kind of where my mind went. Like, I don't want to do this. Alongside with that, I literally never learned how to eat healthy. I didn't know that cheese was like fat, like really fatty food. I didn't know butter was. I literally thought, I didn't even really know what carbs were. I thought that just eating at home was healthy. So come to find out later in life, like my chili cheese fries that I had so many fries, so much chili and cheese packed on, and then even ranch, like, and sour cream, like that's actually not healthy, even though it was eating at home. So that's been very tricky for me to navigate in my life. I just didn't know what healthy was. So now as an adult, I'm thinking, I remember I had the worst headaches all the time, migraines, like my body was screaming at me basically like to be healthy and to drink water, which I didn't do. So it manifested in neck aches galore, headaches like crazy, and body aches. Like my body was always hurting and I was always so stressed and anxious. And now I'm not the best eater now, but I realize when we fuel our body with certain things, it actually makes our body respond and feel better. So that was kind of a pretty big eye-opening thing for me. So something that I started to do as a teenager, like if I noticed that my belly was like bigger than it used to be like 3 days ago, which honestly was probably bloating or something. I was gonna start my period, or I literally ate chips all the time. My favorite thing to do was hot Cheetos and Dr. Pepper. But what I would do, okay, so basically if I noticed that I was feeling a little bloated, I didn't even know what bloated meant. So if I was feeling bigger than I normally did, and I didn't like that because I didn't want to have to diet like my mom, I would just stop eating. So I would go like days where I would maybe eat one thing or nothing, and then I would eat after my belly or whatever it was that I was looking at looked smaller again, then it was like, okay, we can eat again. And I still, like, I don't feel like it was an eating disorder. I think, honestly, I'm not quite sure. I feel like maybe more of like body dysmorphia. I do believe that I have that now, but that's honestly just what I figured out to do to cope. And I just remember like really almost like punishing myself. Like, you are looking this way, so you need to stop eating. And once it looks good again, then you can eat again. And I also, this is just thought came into my head, when I would like have something depressing happen, which I was like a pretty depressed person growing up. I still am, not gonna lie, depressed and anxious. But I would, if my boyfriend broke up with me, or if we were in a fight or something like that, like I literally wouldn't eat on purpose. Like, it was like, I have to do this because I'm not feeling good and I'm not feeling my best and I'm depressed, so I need to stop eating. Like, it was like, I don't know if that was like me punishing myself or making it feel like it's even worse or harder, and like, poor me, I'm just so depressed, I'm feeling so bad. I'm not quite sure, but I literally would go days or a week without eating and not drinking much either. So now I'm literally thinking about this on the spot. Like, I was always dizzy growing up. So every time I would stand up, I would almost pass out. And I actually passed out quite a bit growing up. So my iron was always low. I have extremely low blood pressure. I don't know if that goes into play with it, but these things are just coming to me as I'm speaking this out loud, because this isn't something that like I've talked about very often, like I said. But so I battled with that, almost like disciplining myself, maybe to make like more of a tangible feeling. Like, my heart was hurting if a boy broke up with me, but I needed to like make it feel and look more depressed. But it's not like I even really told anybody what was going on, because I was a very quiet, kept to myself kind of a person. So anyway, then I was 20 and I got pregnant unexpectedly, and it was a really hard time of my life. The thing that's so crazy is like, I grew up really religious, so getting pregnant before you're married is not good. It's very looked down on. But I was honestly more afraid of stretch marks than I was to like tell people that I was pregnant, and to like look like that person that is now pregnant and isn't married and all of that. I was seriously so afraid of my stomach never looking the same again. It's interesting because, like I said, like, my mom had a lot of kids, so with a lot of kids, stretch marks obviously comes. And to me, what I had noticed is that our family would get stretch marks pretty bad. So I'm just freaking out. I think I literally only saw my mom's stomach like one time, because she just kind of always hid her body, which is totally fine, but I just didn't even know what to expect. Like, I personally had no idea, besides that one time seeing my mom's stomach of stretch marks, that like, I thought that was my future. And which sounds terrible, but I do think that more people go through this than just me. And like, obviously now it's like I've been a mom for 10 years and my body like bounced back eventually. It's just a very interesting thing that was like the thing I was the very most afraid of, were these stretch marks. So something that I actually have really, really tried to do after having my second baby, so my kids are 10 years apart or 9 years apart, I really try to not hide my body, so that my older daughter can just see my body in all the different phases. And I don't know if that's going to help her with her body or not, but I don't think I've ever said anything like bad about my body, because if I'm saying something bad about my body, And if her body looks that way, she's going to think that it's bad, because if it's bad for me, then it's bad for her, kind of a thing. That's just what my brain wraps around. So I purposely have tried, like when I'm nursing my baby in our living room or something, I try to just let my stomach be how it is, and not make like a big deal about it, so that it's just normalized, because it just wasn't normalized for me. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. Like, there's no problem in that, but I'm just like, I don't know, maybe there's just a different way around it. Moving on through my pregnancy, I ended up like working at this place with me and Anderson, my significant other, and a bunch of other like young girls. And so here I am getting pregnant, and my body's changing, and I'm gaining weight, and like I'm growing this baby inside of my body. I'm grumpy, I'm tired, I'm irritable. We've only been together for like 10 months, 11 months. Like, we hadn't even been together for a year. And now I'm working with all of these cute girls that are like tiny and happy and just like all peppy, and the insecurity set in big time, because I'm like, who would want to stay with me if I'm feeling this way, if I'm looking this way? Look at these girls, they're happier, they're nicer, they're this and that. And that was just like really hard for me to work through. And then I had Evie, and I remember, like, we don't really, I think we see this more now, but like 10 years ago, we didn't really show what our postpartum body looked like. It was almost like you have a baby today, and tomorrow you should be back to your pre-pregnancy weight. Your belly should look normal. It shouldn't look pregnant anymore, and that's just not the case. It's literally so far from it, and I had no idea. So I remember having Evie and getting up and going to the bathroom for the first time, and my stomach felt like jello. Like, that's literally the best way that I can describe it, is like getting a casserole dish of jello and you shake it, and all that jello is just jiggling around, and that's what it feels like. Just a big thing of jello in your belly, and you have no muscles to tighten it, you have no baby to like keep it firm. It's just there now. And it felt, in my opinion, at that time, it felt disgusting. Like, I hated it. I didn't bring clothes that would have looked good on me. I had a shirt that I wore far before I was pregnant. Ouch, like this weird pain in my stomach. Way before I got pregnant. And so it's like this little like extra small shirt, and it's hugging my belly because I look like I'm 6 months pregnant. And that really sucked. I literally only brought like one outfit. This was before all the pregnancy lists and all the cute outfits that you would pack. Like, I didn't buy a new pair of pajamas. I didn't buy a new going home outfit for me. Like, I did have a going home outfit for Evie, but that was it. I guess this is really just aging me. But so then I remember the first time going swimming, or one of the first times going swimming after having Evie, and my body is just so different. And we hear people say this, okay, I could put my regular jeans back on 6 weeks postpartum, but boy, were they tight, and I did not wear them. But I remember feeling like, I'm amazing. I just fit in my pre-pregnancy jeans. And wow, my body's bouncing back. But guys, they were so freaking tight. Like, nobody's going to be wearing those. Like, no, like I didn't. So I just remember, like, again, just not knowing like how long it takes for your body to like bounce back and like get back to a normal, like what it was, or your new normal, I guess, is honestly more of like an ideal thing. But